season, and let's get familiarized.
Make this school year their strongest yet. Book your child's back to school or sports physical today at SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln. Keep them healthy, focused, and ready for success. Find out more by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. At the Tuesday night Clinton Board of Education meeting, the board heard from school leadership about the continued plans for restructuring Lincoln and Douglas schools to combine grade levels. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Superintendent Drew Goebel told the Hart Media Group the board was updated on those plans and believes they are getting to a point they need the board to approve moving forward with permanent plans to have this ready for the next school year.
We're kind of at the point that we need the school board to approve the move if we keep going, because we can't decide this in April because there's then, I mean, honestly, April, May, summertime, school starts. I mean, there's just not enough time. So we're getting close to that point that we're gonna we're doing it or we're not doing it. And I told this publicly to the school board last night. If the school board says we're scrapping this idea, I take my direction from those 7 people. And if they say scrap it, we're not doing it, so be it. If they said Drew and the rest of the committee, go for it. We like this idea. I am in favor of it. I wouldn't have gone down this road if I didn't think it was in the best interest for students and staff.
Yeah.
I feel that both students and staff will be more supported. Right now, you kids currently go to school based upon where they live. If you live here, you go to Lincoln. If you go here, you go to Douglas. It's called the neighborhood school. What we are proposing is what is called an attendance center.
According to Goebel, the idea of combining grade levels to one building has been talked about for many years, and last year it was finally acted on by the Board of Education and school leadership.
Last year, we had board approval to just start looking at, to create a committee that we would, because right now, if you're not familiar with the structure of the school, half of the kids in the district that are in kindergarten go to Lincoln School, and the other half go to Douglas. So kindergarten, and then the same thing for first grade. Half of the kids go to one school, the other half go to the other school. We also have preschool, and that's not for everyone. If you want to go to preschool, you have to. There's not everyone can't go to preschool. You have to really qualify for it. And again, that's split between the 2 schools. So right now, the principal, Mrs. Patrick, literally bounces back and forth between those 2 schools, and something that's been talked about for the entire time that I've worked in Clinton, and I've been here for many years. We've talked about combining all the kindergarten, first grade, and preschool together, so they would no longer be separated. Now, we can't put preschool, kindergarten, first grade all in the same building. There's not enough space for that, but what we've been exploring and through a committee was putting the tentative plan was to put all the kindergarten, first grade at Lincoln, and then all the preschool at Douglas.
One of the driving factors behind this change is to allow the district to accept all students in the Clinton district into the pre-K program. According to Goebel, currently you have to qualify into the program.
So right now, preschool is you have to qualify. Some people don't get in, just the way it goes. If we expand, number one, there's a preschool for all grant that we'd have to write, and part of in order to get that grant, you have to prove that you have space for it, which we would. if that grant was approved, we would have to hire new staff, and we would be able to expand our preschool. I mean, we have a committee, so we have representation, but then with just like a lot of with any committee, then you reach back out. So we have, not everyone's on the committee, but then the committee reaches out to the other teachers that aren't and gets feedback, and with Google Forms, you can take surveys, and you can kind of get input from different people. I will say, I have had an enormous amount of support from the community, because I live in the community, and I'm out and around, and I have yet to have any person from the community, not a teacher, just someone that sends their kids to school. Not a single person has. It's been 100% positive.
Goebel indicates the process is moving along enough. They're going to be seeking direction from the Board of Education very soon regarding whether this will be something that happens or gets halted.
So we're going to have to figure out, Stephen Page is a new transportation director, and even Lisa Daniels, she assists Stephen. So the logistics of figuring that out, it's not impossible, but we just can't try to figure that out in August. That's bigger than that. Was brought up at the last restructuring meeting and was asked, is there any insurmountable thing that anyone can see that would keep us from making this happen? No one came up with anything that we couldn't figure out. There's things that we have to figure out, but parking is a good example of something that I feel if we didn't have enough space to park everybody, that would be a deal breaker. We partnered with Hardee's, and we're going to be allowed to park in their parking lot, and we're going to have signs that say Lincoln staff parking only. It's going to be on the south side of the Hardee's lot. And in exchange, the district is advertising for Hardee's on our video boards. So that was kind of an agreement that we have. That item has kind of been checked off. For example, one of the rooms that it air conditioning and heating, we'd need to change that. So that area would be. It currently is just not as. I want everyone to be comfortable. So that would be something that we'd have to change. Right now, we need to create a workroom for teachers and like a lounge. So a wall would be going into an area to kind of create that space, and we would be able to do that in-house.
The change would be implemented next year if the Board of Education approves moving forward. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and the Illinois Department of Agriculture are announcing $67 million in funding to offer cost share and financial incentives to producers and landowners who will implement no-till or strip-till starting this fall. The Climate Pollution Reduction Grant, or CPRG program, aims to expand no-till and strip-till practices across the state. The application period is October 27th to October 31st, says Illinois Farm Bureau Environmental Program Manager Bana Pegg.
So it's a brief window where you can apply for payment for no-till and strip-till implementation. The payment rate is $35 per acre per year, up to 3 years. Applications will be accepted on a first come, first served basis, and there is a 3,000 acre cap on this one. If you want more information, head to the IDOA website, and then there's a press release that you can reference. I don't believe the application is overly complicated, but there are some stipulations. One being, I believe that the field cannot be in no-till or strip-till already. It has to be a new field, and then that 3,000 acre cap. But yeah, $35 per acre, up to 3 years. And you have about a week to apply once it opens. So keep your eye on that first come, first served basis. Apply quick as you can.
The website is agr.illinois.gov. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Best of all, it's all free all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
At Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, you get the independent lifestyle you want without the huge price tag. It's half the cost of most independent living options. No stairs, no worries. All duplexes have an attached garage. They're accessible, safe, and private. Say goodbye to maintenance and hello to freedom, because now you can go do whatever you want to do. If you're 55 or better, it's time to simplify your life. Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth. Independent living done right. Find out more by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Listen on the WHOW platforms on AM, FM, and streamed online this Saturday night from 7 till 9 in the evening for our annual Pigskin Playoff Preview Show. We'll have the first information on what area high school football teams make it and who they'll play, plus live interviews with local coaches. It's all this Saturday night from 7 till 9 in the evening on all of WHOW platforms on AM, FM, and the WHOW mobile app, and video streamed on the DeWittDailyNews.com Facebook page and the WHOW TV YouTube channel.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Ben Hubbard with this report. An ad hoc committee is preparing to present a bylaws change to the IHSA this winter that would expand the high school football playoffs in Illinois. Monticello Athletic Director Dan Sheehan is the president of the Illinois Athletic Directors Association and explains they have an ad hoc committee that is exploring an expansion of the playoffs.
With the proposal that's been put up with members from up north, central Illinois, down south, a couple conferences, coaches, we're going to have the same end date, same state championship. None of that gets changed. We are going to maintain a 9-week regular season, which everybody, coaches across the state, wants to do. The other thing that this proposal does is it allows schools and districts local control, so we can keep the tradition of conferences. The Illini Prairie Conference can stay intact. We don't want to go districts. We don't want to go divisions. We don't want to dictate a schedule. So 9-week regular season, we can keep conferences, and the proposal will expand the playoffs by 128 schools. This will create greater opportunities for teams, cheerleaders, marching bands, communities, and ultimately what it does, in my opinion, is eliminate the drive for five. It stabilizes conferences and encourages schools to potentially schedule a tough opponent. Like, you might be more willing to go outside the box instead of trying to find a way to get 5 wins. Now, if you can get in the playoffs at 3 and 6, you might consider playing somebody that's a class above you or somebody in the same class that's traditionally really good.
The drive for 5 is the biggest calling card in high school football. At 5 wins, a team qualifies for the postseason. Sheehan indicates, unlike every other sport within IHSA, not all football teams make the postseason.
So some of the things that we've heard statewide, football discussions about how to fix football has been going on for 10 plus years. Some of the things that the drive for 5 is the biggest issue. It's football in Illinois is special. You have to qualify. There's no doubt about it. Football is the only sport in Illinois that not everybody gets postseason action. That's a big deal. And I understand that it's an honor, it's a privilege to work for it. But unfortunately, with football and the involvement in the community, the marching band, the drive for 5 is a big deal because 5 is typically the number that gets in the playoffs.
According to Sheehan, the restructured playoff would add just 1 round to the postseason, with the top 16 seeds getting a bye in the first round. Then, instead of having scrimmages for week 0, that would be the beginning of the season.
So the IHSA provided, they did 2 years, 2023 and 2024. They provided brackets of what this would look like. It would be, each class would be increased to 48. So from 32 to 48. And then your top 16 teams would get a bye. So your top 16, so basically in a 3A bracket, which we're very familiar with, your top 8 in the North would get a bye, and the top 8 in the South would get a bye. In 7A and 8A, when they do a 1 through, they would go 1 through 48, the top 16 teams would get a bye. And so I think a lot of people, some of the misconceptions out there is, well, we don't need a 9-0 playing a 3-6. Well, if you look at the bracket, if you want to call it a player game, you're going to see like the 16 playing in the 17, that's 5-4 versus 5-4. You might get a 13 versus 20 matchup, which is 6-3 versus 3-6. So it's not that mixed match. We're not going 9-0 versus 3-6 right off the bat. There's that play-in game, very similar to boys basketball, girls basketball, volleyball. There's that what we call in the IHSA in the postseason is your quarterfinal game.
Yeah.
So you're going to have that first round, which would take place week 9, and then the playoffs would begin week 10. So the biggest change in the schedule is we would eliminate cricket night. Football games would have to be week, it's traditionally week 0.
The playoff expansion would take place next year. Sheehan notes there are a few other proposals out there for playoff expansion. The proposal has been submitted after a process of the proposal's review, and it makes it through that process. The proposal can be in front of IHSA member schools in December for vote. It's not just a short week that has the LA Chargers and Minnesota Vikings feeling lousy going into their Thursday night showdown, but it certainly starts there. Whoever comes out on top in the showdown of staggered underachievers should certainly be feeling a lot better going into the weekend. The Chargers, who are 4-3, have lost 3 of their past 4 games, in part because of an injury-riddled offensive line. The 3-3 Vikings have already dropped as many games through 7 weeks as they did during the entire 2024 regular season, with iffy quarterback play and health looming large. For Wentz, he has even less time to get his injured left non-throwing shoulder back into game shape. He was hurt in week 5 and went at Cleveland, but was able to manage it in a 28-22 loss to Philadelphia on Sunday, throwing for 313 yards with 2 interceptions as the Vikings continue to alternate between victories and defeats. The Chargers will hope to get left tackle Joe Alt back after he missed the past 3 games with a sprained ankle. Right tackle Trey Pipkins III could also return from a 2-game absence with a knee injury, with head coach Jim Harbaugh characterizing the availability of blockers as a day-of-game division. The presence of one or both tackles would significantly boost the chances of keeping quarterback Justin Herbert upright and opening holes in the run game for an offense that has been scrambling for cohesion. Offensive coordinator Greg Roman said the swift turnaround from the Bolts' 38-24 loss to Indianapolis means they're planning as if both tackles will not play. The Vikings allowed Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts to post the first perfect passer rating of his career last week, thanks in part to a handful of huge games between shrewd play calls and star players that caught the Vikings in tough spots at bad times. Hurts had 5 completions greater than 25 yards, including a 79-yard touchdown pass to Devonta Smith. The Vikings, in 3 seasons under defensive coordinator Brian Flores, have fielded one of the most dangerous groups in the league, but despite solid production over 6 games in pass rushing, on third downs and in the red zone, they've only created 7 turnovers, with 5 of those in one game against Cincinnati in Week 3. Last season, the Vikings tied for the league lead with 33 takeaways. The Chargers aren't in much better shape on defense after giving up 30 or more points and 400 yards for the 3rd time in 24 regular season games under coordinator Jesse Minter. Jonathan Taylor rushed for 94 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Colts became the 3rd straight opponent to average at least 5.2 yards per carry. Los Angeles had no takeaways for the 4th time this season. Finding ways to get Justin Jefferson the ball through constant double teams is a weekly challenge for O'Connell and the Vikings, but Wentz has done an effective job of spreading the ball around in his 4 starts, particularly with developing a rhythm with Jordan Addison. Addison has been targeted 26 times in the 3 games since he returned from a suspension, with a career-high 9 catches for 128 yards last week against the Eagles. Chargers outside linebacker Khalil Mack played 12 snaps in his return after missing 4 games because of an elbow injury. That was enough for Mack to pick up a sack and a tackle for loss, but his limited workload also exposed the limitations of the edge defense without the 34-year-old. The feisty Mack wants to play more this week before acknowledging the decision isn't his alone. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Shane Steinberg here from Highway 51 Exchange, your equipment rental headquarters, south of Clinton on US 51. Check our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com to book online today and pick up tomorrow. Highway 51 Exchange.
If you're tired of worrying about home maintenance and stairs, at Hickory Point Garden Homes in Forsyth, you don't have to. Enjoy independent living duplexes that are half the cost of traditional independent living options. Find out more by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Paul Skowron, CEO of Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton, here to remind you that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Warner Hospital has the same state-of-the-art 3D mammography technology as the larger hospitals, but also offers it in a compassionate, caring way close to home in Clinton. 3D offers more precise imaging for early detection of cancer and a significant reduction in radiation exposure. Book your preventative 3D mammo appointment at Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton by calling 217-935-9571.
Closeout time is here for a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have a good selection of 25 Silverados remaining in regular and crew cab models with gas or diesel engines. Some with utility beds and dual roof wheels. Also see our remaining Colorados, Trailblazers, even our full-size Suburban and Tahoes, all priced to move out. See our 25 inventory today at BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
This is the voice of the Eastern Illinois University Panthers, Mike Brad, inviting all of our fans from Peoria to the Indiana state line to listen for Panther football again this fall on WHOW's many platforms on AM, FM, and streamed online. EIU Panther football is part of WHOW's great weekend sports programming schedule, including a Best of Clinton Maroon sports broadcast and CBS Sports Radio. We'll bring you every Panther game start to finish right here on Central Illinois' news, agriculture, and sports station, WHOW.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. At the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, the U.S. military has blown up a 9th suspected drug-running boat, this time in the Pacific off Colombia. At least 3 people on board were killed before this and a previous strike. Most of the drug-fighting action was in the Caribbean. Tightening the screws on Vladimir Putin, President Trump has announced a new round of sanctions on Russia, this time targeting 2 of Russia's largest oil companies. And the European Union has agreed on a new raft of sanctions against Russia. The EU sanctions target its shadow fleet of oil tankers and ban imports of its liquefied natural gas, the proceeds of which help to fund Putin's war machine. The Coast Guard.
In the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local news update. Proposed legislation by a Central Illinois lawmaker would increase the tax rate for renewable energy projects. State Senator Sally Turner filed the bill she says would ensure renewable energy